Your cat is staring at you right now, not blinking, not moving, just watching you with that flat, unreadable expression that somehow makes you feel like you are the one being studied. You assume it wants food or attention or nothing at all. But the real answer is far stranger. Because for most of human history, people did not look at that same stare and think about dinner time. They looked at it and felt something close to terror. The medieval world was not a world that understood cats the way you do. It was a world that had to explain everything it could not control, and cats refused to be controlled. That made them dangerous, not in a simple way, in a cosmic way. The kind of dangerous that gets you written into church documents and burned alongside the people who kept you. So what did medieval humans actually think cats were? The answer runs through plague, theology, folklore, and the deep psychology of a civilization trying to make sense of a creature that simply would not behave. Start with the basic problem. Cats are nocturnal hunters with eyes that glow in the dark, a silent walk that produces no sound, and a habit of appearing and disappearing without explanation. To a medieval peasant with no electricity, no scientific framework, and a worldview built entirely around the battle between good and evil, that description fits exactly one category: the category of things that belong to the devil. This was not casual superstition. It was theology. In 1233, Pope Gregory IX issued a formal papal document called Vox in Rama, which directly accused black cats of being instruments of satanic ritual. The document described elaborate heretical ceremonies in which a black cat appeared as a symbol of the devil himself. Historians have confirmed this document is real. It had real consequences. Cats across parts of Europe were killed in large numbers, associated with heresy and dark worship. A house cat became evidence of guilt. Can you sit with that for a moment? The creature sleeping on your couch was, in the eyes of official religious authority, a piece of evidence in a supernatural crime. Historian Catherine Rogers, who spent years researching the cultural history of cats, documented how this association spread through art, literature, and folk tradition across the medieval period. Cats appeared in illustrations alongside witches. They appeared in trial records as the companions of accused heretics. The image of a woman with a black cat was not an aesthetic choice. It was an accusation. But here is where it gets stranger. The fear was not uniform. It contradicted itself constantly, the way superstition always does. Because at the exact same time that cats were being condemned in religious documents, they were being kept in granaries, monasteries, and royal courts to control the rat population. There are records of monasteries in medieval England explicitly accounting for the cats living within their walls. The monks, who prayed for protection from evil, kept the so-called instruments of evil sleeping next to their grain stores. The contradiction was visible. Nobody seemed to notice it. This is the part that researcher and medievalist Irina Metzler, who has written extensively on animals in medieval thought, finds most revealing. Medieval people did not experience animals through a single unified framework. They experienced them through overlapping, often contradictory systems of belief, utility, and fear. The cat was useful and evil at the same time. That dual identity made it more unsettling, not less. Your brain actually does something similar. When something is both helpful and threatening, your nervous system cannot fully relax around it. You keep monitoring it. You keep watching it. The medieval relationship with cats was like that, stretched across centuries. Then came the plague. The Black Death arrived in Europe in 1347 and killed somewhere between 30 and 60% of the population. It spread through fleas carried by rats. Cats, the natural predators of rats, could have dramatically reduced the spread. But in many regions, cats had already been so thoroughly associated with evil that populations had been culled. Some historians have argued, cautiously, that the demonization of cats may have contributed to rat population explosions that accelerated the plague's spread. Historian and science writer Abigail Tucker explored this connection in her research into the deep history of domestic cats, noting the tragic irony that the creature best equipped to help may have been removed from the equation by the very fear it inspired. Think about what that means. A belief system, not a disease, not a weapon. A story that people told about an animal may have shaped the death toll of one of the worst catastrophes in human history. The counterintuitive twist is this. Medieval people were not stupid. They were pattern-seeking minds operating without modern tools. They looked at cats and saw something genuinely difficult to explain. Cats do behave strangely by the standards of every other domesticated animal. They do not respond to commands. They do not show obvious submission. They hunt silently. They scream in the night during mating season. They return from injuries that should have killed them. The 9 lives myth did not come from nowhere. It came from observed reality that seemed to break the normal rules. The interpretive framework was wrong, but the observation underneath it was accurate. Cats are genuinely unusual animals. Your instinct that something is slightly alien about your cat is not irrational. It is your pattern recognition system picking up real data that your ancestors also noticed and simply filed under the wrong category. And here is the modern mirror. You live in a world with scientific explanations for cat behavior. You know about felid neuroanatomy, about the particular way a cat's social cognition differs from a dog's because of how they were domesticated on a different timeline. You know about the slow blink that signals trust. You know that the stare is not malevolence, it is just attention. And yet, when your cat sits at the end of a dark hallway at 3 in the morning and stares at nothing, something in you still shifts. Your pulse still responds. Some older part of your brain, the part that was doing the thinking long before medieval theology existed, sends a quiet signal that says this animal is watching something you cannot see. You dismiss it. You go back to sleep. But you felt it. That feeling has a name now. It is called the uncanny. Psychologist Ernst Jentsch first described it in 1906 as the discomfort produced by something that seems alive but behaves by different rules than expected. Cats have been producing that feeling for as long as humans have lived near them. Your medieval ancestors looked at your cat and wrote papal documents about it. They built folklore around it. They killed thousands of them and then kept thousands more in their most sacred buildings. They were afraid of something they also could not live without. And now you sit in the glow of a screen, entirely comfortable, entirely rational, with that same creature on your couch staring at you with flat, unreadable eyes that have not changed in 1,000 years. Not blinking, not moving, just watching you with an expression that somehow still makes you feel like you are the one being studied.